So just a few days ahead of this big-time Baltimore Ravens versus Pittsburgh Steelers rivalry matchup that will go a long way in determining who wins the AFC North this season, we got some big health updates on Isaiah Likely and Kyle Hamilton, as well as some former Baltimore Ravens and former Steelers and DeShaun Elliott, Patrick Queen, and Deontay Johnson all chipping in and talking about this rivalry. We got Mike Tomlin on what this rivalry means over the years with him and John Harbaugh, as well as some other cool stats and updates here. So welcome into another episode of Ravens Reports, man. It's your guy Noah here with For the Flock. As always, bringing you guys our top 5 news reports and storylines coming out of our Baltimore Ravens today. At number 1, let's get some good news here. Isaiah Likely was officially back at practice today. Likely had missed last week's game against the Bengals. He missed yesterday's practice, but he's officially back out there on the field after recovering from a hamstring injury. Also, some kind of a good news here, good sign here for Kyle Hamilton. He was seen on a side field working with some athletic trainers, said he was clearly not 100%, but moving around, running on the field. A good sign for the possibility of his availability upcoming. If he can log a limited practice on Thursday or Friday, there's definitely a chance of him suiting up on Sunday to play in this game that's absolutely monumental. Whoever wins this game is in sole first place in the AFC North, in great position in the driver's seat heading down the rest of the season. At number 2, last week we got to see the pass rush really ramp up against the Bengals. And the Bengals have a pretty solid offensive line as well. And they're going to need that pass rush to be alive and present for this game against the Pittsburgh Steelers. We got to hit Russell Wilson early and often. But if you want to look at where they're at on the season, the Baltimore Ravens, the Ravens are actually second best in the NFL right now in most team pressures, 199 total team pressures after week 10. What's great is that Travis Jones is a big part of that. He's healthy, after missing a little bit of time and missing some practice with an injured ankle. Justin Madubuike had his best game of the season against the Bengals last week, logging several sacks and a dominant performance. We're definitely going to need that type of performance because we know on the other side of the football, the Steelers have a potent pass rush with TJ Watt, Cam Hayward. They just traded for Preston Smith. They got Nick Herbert. A bunch of guys that can get after the quarterback. One of those guys that likes to blitz is Patrick Queen. Patrick Queen said today that he had some feelings about, the Ravens not having any interest in him in free agency. He said there was no desire, no phone call or anything to bring him back here to Baltimore. He said it took him a while to get over, and there's definitely going to be some emotions in this game. And speaking of that, at number 3, DeShaun Elliott also said the Baltimore Ravens, he doesn't understand why they let talent walk in free agency. Really kind of rips on the Ravens management there and says that they decided to sign 32, referring to Marcus Williams, instead of, DeShaun Elliott coming back in that free agency period in 2022. Here's what he had to say on the Punchline podcast with Marlon Humphrey and Jack Settleman.
The game last night, we won. Yes, sir, we won. We're on the bus back to the airport. He's like, bruh, I'm not even going to be in the locker room this week. I said, why? He was like, you know why? I was like, no, I don't. He goes, it's that week. It's Ravens week. I said, oh, yeah, they're asking a lot of questions. And technically he's a traitor because from last year to this year, hey, I'm going to be real. You can. Hey, money talk, BS walk. So he decided to go somewhere who appreciated him more than Baltimore did. But, I've realized this, that a lot of times players that leave Baltimore, they go and they play better. They become great because Baltimore decides to let their talent walk. God, I don't know why. But we'll see. We'll see how PQ handles this week. I'm sure PQ is going to give a lot of tips and whatnot to our offense, hopefully. I know he's preparing for this game. I know he can't wait to play in this game, but I know he cannot wait to talk mess to the sideline when he makes a play. So this will be fun. This will be very fun.
So before we get on to the rest of today's content, I just want to give a huge personal thank you to Factor for sponsoring today's video. Factor makes meeting your nutrition goals easier than ever by delivering fresh, never frozen, dietitian-approved meals right to your doorstep. Factor's team of gourmet chefs create each meal using only ingredients with integrity to help you feel your best all day long. You can go ahead and skip the overpriced takeout trap. Factor is cheaper, and way more delicious. Every Factor meal that I've tried has been excellent. You get chef-crafted restaurant quality meals delivered right to your door. They're ready to heat up and eat in just 2 minutes, which means more time for you and your busy schedule. When things get hectic, Factor is flexible. You can change up your order every week with plans from 4 to 18 meals per week, whatever you need, or pause or schedule your deliveries at any time. Which is why I personally really enjoyed Factor is, my son and daughter were both in soccer season at the same time. I'm also running this YouTube channel, also in the Marine Corps Reserves, also very, involved with our church and the ministry there. So I have a lot going on, a very busy schedule, and Factor is so nice to have those type of meals ready to go right there in the fridge, heat them up anytime, and you don't feel terrible afterwards. You feel satiated and you feel like you had a wholesome, healthy meal. So head to factor75.com or click the link below using code 50 for the flock to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first Factor box. That's code 50 for the flock at factor75.com to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first box. So again, a huge thank you to Factor for sponsoring today's video. So we got a ton of former Ravens and former Steelers on opposite sides of the football here. Just a reminder of a few guys. DeShaun Elliott, drafted a Baltimore Raven, had some nice seasons, but ultimately dealt with a lot of injury. Patrick Queen, had a really strong season and was a big part of the reason why the defense was the #1 defense in the league last season before walking in free agency. Jeremiah Moon, he went on to be a Pittsburgh Steeler. And then former Pittsburgh Steeler Deontay Johnson's now a Baltimore Raven. Chris Wormley, drafted by the Ravens, went to the Steelers, now back on the Ravens. And then Arthur Millette was a Steeler and now on the Ravens side. So a ton of guys that have swapped sides. Speaking of Arthur Millette, here's what he had to say on what the Steelers' game plan is going to be to take away the RPO, the read option with Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson this upcoming game.
All right, so this is what they're trying to do with Lamar. They're going to put a person at the dive, and they're going to run a person straight at Lamar, and they're going to make him make a decision. So that's their game plan. One person goes to Lamar, one person goes to the dive for the RPO, and that's going to be their game plan to slow him down a little bit. From what I said, maybe they changed a little bit. I ain't been there in a while, but exactly, he can throw way better now. And he lost a little weight. When I was over there, he was a little fat man. But now, he lost a little weight and he's running like his old self.
And, you can look back, since the Ravens had Lamar Jackson, the Steelers had a unique plan that they're just going to hit the quarterback. Whether or not he gives the ball, they're just going to run right at him, and they'll have, he kind of speaks on that plan, what they've done in the past with Lamar. Hey, we're going to send someone right at Lamar and have the rest of the guys fill the gaps for the running back if the running back were to take it. So very interesting to hear Arthur Millette say that. Mike Tomlin's a very cerebral, smart coach, defensive mind. I'm sure he'll have a game plan for Lamar because he's had success. Their defense against our offense has not been great. But here's what Mike Tomlin had to say on this Ravens and Steelers rivalry that I think is about to ramp up to another level.
This time of year, you want to be leaning in on five-star matchups and being a component of it. You're in five-star matchups not only because of the quality of people that you're playing, but also what you've done. And we respect that component of it, and we're excited about that component of it. And we just want to continue to sharpen our sword for these battles, to find a way to prepare ourselves and put our best foot forward and find a way to win and search for more. And so for this week, we acknowledge, man, Baltimore's a really good team. And historically, we've had some awesome matchups, man. There's always AFC North ramifications, and I just respect this rivalry. I think one of the awesome components of this rivalry is the continuity in the organizations, man. I've been on my job a long time. Harbs has been on his job a long time. And I think that adds a texture and history to it. And so that's something that is an honor to be a part of. And we're just simply writing the latest chapter this week with some new faces for us and new faces for them as well. Guys get an opportunity to be a component of this thing, and even some guys flipping sides, guys like Patrick Queen and Moon being on this side of it, just like Arthur Millette a year or so ago, moving to their side of it. But I just think that that's a component of it, man, this intimacy in this relationship. We're highly familiar with their players. They're highly familiar with ours. And when you have that level of familiarity, sometimes guys play on both sides. I think Chris Wormley, for example, is back on their practice squad last time I checked.
So in yesterday's video, we talked about how Mike Tomlin said that Deontay Johnson, he said they have other guys. And I haven't really thought much about Deontay Johnson. They have other guys worthy of more attention. And I think Deontay Johnson is going to be excited to make some plays against his former team. It's also important to note that the Ravens and that Lamar Jackson and Deontay Johnson have not had a lot of practice time together. As soon as the Ravens traded for Deontay, Lamar missed a few practices with a back and knee injury, and then they had a short week against the Bengals. This will be the first full week of practice that they're actually getting reps together, and I think he's going to get some more snaps. John Harbaugh said that as well, and I'm just saying, look out for him to start to make some big plays. Maybe he's not a high volume, 8 catches a game. Maybe he only plays 40% of the snaps or something. But I do think he's going to make some big plays, third downs, some plays down the field. I'm excited to see Deontay Johnson get involved in this already elite passing attack that, by the way, Lamar Jackson has the second most passing yards in the NFL right now. So make sure to smash the like button if you guys enjoyed today's content. And we're going to have that Ravens and Steelers preview coming out for you guys very soon. So make sure that your subscribe and notification bell's on so you're updated and notified anytime we upload. You don't miss any previews, news reports, anything like that, man. I love you guys. I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next video.
Ray, when he wasn't looking, he ran me over.